Welcome back to another video, everybody. We're going to be going over Medusamon. So this is going to be a little bit longer video. It is going to be the deck profile and discussion because my deck is a little bit different from a lot of the decks we have seen before. I have played a lot of Medusamon. I have been playing it since it had originally came out in BT21. And so there's reasons why I play certain cards, but let's jump in the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. First, we're going to be playing 4 copies of the BT21 Digimon. When an opponent's security stack is removed from one of your Digimon, may Digivolve into a card with the Reptile or Dragonkin trait from the hand reduced by 1. So this is what gets you to ramp up into your Medusamons. That's why we're playing 4 of it. We don't touch the other egg because we don't want to see the other egg. Next, we're playing 4 copies of the BT21 Elizamon. On play, reveal top 3 cards of the deck. Add 1 card with the Reptile or Dragonkin trait and 1 card with the Liberated trait. Inheritable security stack is removed from gain a memory. That is incredibly important, and it's also very important that we have that inheritable effect on our 3s and our 4s. Next, we're going to be playing 4 copies of the BT24 Elizamon. On play, by trashing 1 card with the Reptile Dragonkin or Liberator trait from your hand, draw 2. Same inheritable as the last one, card is removed from your opponent's security, gain a memory. And lastly, I am playing 3 copies of the EX11 Elizamon. When moving on play, one of your Digimon, the Reptile Dragonkin trait, gains raid and plus 3000 DP. Gain 1 memory when the card is removed from opponent's security. So same thing. I only play 11 rookies, and that is trying to make space for some other stuff. This deck is kind of notorious for bricking a little bit. It can be inconsistent. That's why we have a lot of consistency option cards to buff up the inconsistency. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of the BT21 Digimon. When Digivolving, if you have 1 or fewer Tamer, you can play 1 Owen Dreadnought from your hand without paying the cost. Inheritable, when opponent's security stack is removed from, gain a memory. So I play 3 of the memory player because we've got a lot of level 4s that we play. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of the BT24 Digimon blocker. All turns when any of your other Digimon with the Reptile or Dragonkin trait would leave the battle area by your opponent's effects. By returning this Digimon to the hand, they don't leave. Inheritable, same as the last ones, you gain memory when opponent's security stack is removed from. Now, I am playing 6 copies of Digimons. A lot of decks play more than that. I am playing 6 because I make room for Cyclonemon. So this is going to be the first one that a lot of people don't play anymore. I'm playing 2 copies of the BT21 Cyclonemon. Security at the end of the battle. Play this card without paying the cost. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less as the on-play. When Digivolving, inheritable plus 2k. I still play this Cyclomon specifically for a control variant. This deck does not, even though Styracomon's an incredibly good level 7, it does not have a lot of defense or control. Now you might be saying, Travis, what are you talking about? The reason why I say that, yes, we put tokens on the field and we have a lot of deletion, but if an opponent's deck is really aggressive, something like Time Stranger, and they've got all these DNAs and they've got all these different things, being able to play defensively can be very beneficial. There are a lot of decks that just let you suspend when attacking a Styrocomon. You've got no blocker. However, if they hit security and your Cyclonemon pops out and plays, you can hit a token. That token deletes that, or you delete that token, Styrocomon, then delete something on their field, then the Lemiamon Inheritable lets you play out another 5000 DP or lower. Now, that's just hoping it's in security. We have tons of decks in the format that add and take away from their security. The Lemiamon Inheritable is incredibly important for that removal, which we'll get to Lemiamon in a little bit, but being able to spit out a Cyclonemon and shoot little things on the field, like the tokens or any 4K or less Digimon, the Garurumon from Time Stranger is 4K or less. Being able to remove those small body Digimon is very important to me. Next, we are playing 2 copies of BT24 Cyclonemon Russian Raid, Inheritable Raid. We play this because we can spit out another Rush body with the Lemiamon effect. Next, I am playing 4 copies of the BT24 Lemiamon. Hand main, if you have an Owen Dreadnought on the field, by placing 1 Digimon from your trash as any of your Elizamon's bottom Digivolution cards, you may Digivolve into this card for a cost of 3, ignoring its Digievolution requirements. When Digivolving, when attacking, your opponent must place a card from their hand to the bottom of security and then trash the top security. All turns, when your opponent's security stack is removed from you, may play 1 5000 DP or lower Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon card from your hand without paying the cost. This Lemiamon is the best card in this deck. This is what makes Medusamon super strong. Obviously, there are a lot of other cards that make Medusamon strong. This Lemiamon is the best one. The reason why we play 4 copies of this card is the warping effect, and why I specify all of these Digimon here to have the inheritable. You gain a memory when your security attack, or when your opponent's security is trashed. The Medusamon, when you warp into it, you're essentially doing it for 1. You Digivolve for 3, then you gain 2 memory back when that security card is trashed. Now this one forces your opponent to place a card underneath, which is very, very strong for their security. And you always get that effect unless your opponent doesn't have any cards in hand, and if they don't do that, they're probably playing like Heavy Metal Dramon or something. But this is the best card, and it allows you to warp and consistently get into your level 6s, and you can also just skip that level 4 if you have the Owen on field. Now, like I talked about, you pair this inheritable with this. The reason why I do that is for extra removal. Like I talked about, even the new Medusamon has a lot of removal. If I spit out the token, I can hit multiple things on field. That's why we do it. Extra removal is very important to me, to be able to control my opponent's field as much as I can. That is why I play this card. I have played this deck without it. Now, this was BT24 format. I played it without it, but I was like, man, I really wish there was more ways for me to be able to hit tokens. And I was like, let me slot this card back in. So I did. Now, with the new Medusamon, I haven't played it without these Cyclone Mons. With the new Medusamon, I might have that removed to hit as many tokens as I want to, but there are just some times where I need to hit an extra thing on field, and that card comes in handy. In addition to that, this helps me burn people's protections. I play this, they want to protect something, I burn it, I can go into something else, and I can double down and hit the bigger target that I want to. It's all about manipulating your opponent's field. Next, we're playing 2 copies of the BT21 Cyberdramon. On play when Digivolving, if your opponent has 5 or fewer security cards, they place 1 card from their hand as the bottom security, trash their top security. Inheritable, plus 4,000 DP. We do that for the same thing. I want to be able to cycle my opponent's hand into their security and get rid of their security. That's why we're playing 2 copies of that card as opposed to the other Medusamon. Next, I'm going to be playing 4 copies of, almost dropped it, of the EX11 Medusamon. Rush progress when Digivolving end of attack, not once per turn. You may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much DP or less as this Digimon. Then by returning 1 card from your opponent's trash to the bottom of the deck, you may play 1 petrification token to the field. All turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area by deleting 1 token, it doesn't leave. So, very strong Medusamon. Like the combos that we've seen, if we scramble out an Elizamon, if we Owen Dreadnought out an Elizamon, and I warp into this, I can still get into a Medusamon. It has rush, I can end of turn attack. So, very strong Medusamon card. This removal is really, really nice because I can hit 2 things, but it's like I talked about, you kind of have to play mind games a little bit. I use this Cyclone Mon to try and burn protections on my opponent's Digimon as well, and then I can hit them with something like an end of attack. And if they fall for it, they fall for it. If they don't, they don't, and I still get to hit a card on their field. So that's really nice. Lastly, for the level 6s, I'm playing 1 copy of the BT24 Medusamon. Raid Progress Piercing. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's lowest DP Digimon. Then by returning 2 cards from their trash to the bottom of the deck, you may play 2 Petrification tokens onto the field. After, you gain plus 2,000 DP for each of your opponent's Digimon until the end of the turn. We still play one of these because Vortextramon is in this format. We've got Jupitermon in this format, and we want to be able to, 1, burn their security. So if they barrier that, that's fine. But also, we want to get a very big Digimon, which is difficult for Jupitermon to reduce its DP all the way. Obviously, it hits until 13k, but if you've got something like this Cyberdramon underneath it, you're going to be surviving that, which is really, really nice, and it's very, very useful. Next, I am playing 2 copies of the BT24 Styrakomon. Progress, Piercing, Blocker, Armor Purge. When Digivolving, you may trash any of your opponent's security cards. Then this Digimon may unsuspend. All turns when a security stack... There we go, hold on. When opponent's security stack is removed from, you may delete one of their Digimon. All turns when any of your Reptile or Dragonkin trait Digimon to leave the battle area. By deleting one of your opponent's Digimon the lowest DP, they don't leave. So, very powerful protection. We've also got the Armor Piercing Styrakomon's just a very good card, game finisher if we have the Owen Dreadnought on field. I did drop my Omni Axes. Next, I'm going to go on to my Tamers. I am playing 1 copy of the EX11 Owen Dreadnought. Start of turn, set it to 3. All turns when any of your Digimon are played or Digivolve, if they have the Reptile or Dragonkin trait, by suspending this Tamer, draw 1 after one of your Digimon with progress gets plus 3,000 DP. I play this one. I know some decks don't. I like memory setters. I've got a lot of people that like to choke you to 1. You can do stuff if you're choked to 1 with this deck, but it's a lot better if I can get an Owen Dreadnought on field. And that way I am able to, 1, buff my draw power with his effect there, and also buff up my Digimon if they have progress, okay? I am playing one of it. I dropped down on it because I think there's a different Owen that's a little bit more important, which is the BT21 Owen Dreadnought. Start of main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon, gain a memory. End of turn by suspending this tamer. One of your Digimon with the Reptile or Dragonkin trait gains piercing for the turn, then this Digimon may attack. I am playing 3 copies of the Owen Dreadnought. The reason why is because I've had games where I try and get back into Medusamon, or they're choking me to 1, and I'm like, I need an end of attack or a Digivolve attack tamer. And so I buffed up the ratios just to 3, because sometimes this tamer just doesn't help me as much, and it's a little costly to put out on the field, just for a little bit of draw power. I might drop this Owen back and then buff this up to 2, but we're play testing a little bit right now, and that's what we're looking for. We're just testing to see how it is. I haven't tested too much because, if I'm being completely honest, the people at my locals are kind of sick of me playing Medusamon, because as soon as I got support in BT24, I've been non-stop playing it because I think it's so much fun, and I love this deck a lot. Reason why I love the deck is because it was my first Ghost Rare pull. So I just built it from BT24 or BT21 and played it ever since. Next, I am playing 2 copies of the BT24 Owen Dreadnought. Start of main phase, by returning this tamer to the bottom of the deck, you may play 1 Owen Dreadnought from your hand without paying the cost. Then, if you don't have a Digimon on the field, you may play 1 Elizamon from your trash without paying the cost. Your turn, when any of your Digimon digivolve into a Reptile Dragonkin trait Digimon, by suspending this tamer, that Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn, then it may attack. So, just nice to be able to cycle some Owen Dreadnoughts. You get some of these out a little bit more for free, the ones that are a little bit more important. But in addition to that, if I've got nothing on the field, I don't have a scramble, I can spit out an Elizamon from the trash. So that is a consistency piece that we're looking for. There have been situations where my opponent has field wiped me, but they put an Elizamon, this trash one, in the trash, and I was like, oh. And I bottom deck this Owen. I play out a different Owen, one of these 2, doesn't matter, I think it was this one. I play out an Owen, put this, I trash the Dimitrimon, draw 2, go into the Lamiamon for 1 cost, like we talked about, and then I go into a Medusamon, and then I'm able to attack end of turn. So a lot of builds that we can do with this, and a lot of power that we can go with. But I think keeping this at 2 is really good. Like I had talked about, I might buff up that Memory Setter back to 2, just because it is a very strong card. Next, we are going to go over my option cards. So, first off, we are going to be playing 1 copy of Raging Serpentine. When this card would be played, if your opponent has 3 or fewer security, reduce the cost by 4. Main delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP, then place this card in the battle area. All turns, when a security stack is removed from delay, one of your Digimon with the Reptile Dragonkin trait may Digivolve into a Reptile Dragonkin from the hand without paying the cost. And then security delete highest DP. So I did have this at 2 for a while. I had this at 2, this at 1, and then this at 2. But Raging Serpentine, I think 1 is enough. I was like, oh, I'm worried about Vortextramon. But honestly, it's either insecurity or it's in my hand. And when it's in my hand, I can use it from being in my hand. There have been games, a lot of games against Vortex, where this has just been insecurity, and I was playing 2 of them. But there were even more games than it wasn't versus Vortextramon, where I was like, this thing is just in my hand. And I wasn't using it. I would use 1 maybe a game. So we dropped it down to buff consistency pieces, which brings me to my next option card. I am still playing 2 copies of BT24 Unique Emblem Blazing Conductor. Main, you may play 1 Elizamon or Owen Dreadnought from hand or trash without paying the cost, then place this card in the battle area. When any of your Owen Dreadnoughts suspend delay, one of your Digimon with the Reptile Dragonkin trait may Digivolve into a Digimon card, the Reptile Dragonkin, and the Liberator trait with the cost reduced by 3. So, a lot of people have stopped playing the Unique Emblem. I still like the Unique Emblem. Reason why is because I can get an extra body on the field. I know with trainings, you can get a lot of consistency with trainings, but it doesn't put a body on my field. The amount of times this has either been in security or I have just played this out to set myself up for next turn because I'm playing out one of these Owens because they've all been trashed when I'm facing something like a Creepymon or something along those lines. I still think the Unique Emblems have a ton of value, and they are way better to get me into my chain effects than the trainings. The trainings I still have to pay a little bit, but with these ones, I can go unique, or have a Unique Emblem on the field, Owen Dreadnought. I go into the Lamiamon Warp. I suspend an Owen to draw 1, or I suspend it end of attack, and then I Unique Emblem and just go into it for free. So if you are passing turn, this is a way to ramp up. I get Styrokomon on the field, all this stuff. This thing turns a Styrokomon into a 3-cost Evo over a Lamiamon. I still really like it, and having this Owen Dreadnought is an easy suspension during my turn. Next, I am playing one copy of Crimson Blaze. Delete all 6k Digimon or lower. Your opponent can't play Digimon by effect until the end of the turn. Crimson Blaze is just really good. You reduce the cost for how many things are on the field. I'm playing one of it now. I used to play two of it. I think I'm just going to stick with the one for right now because I've buffed my consistency pieces. And with that being said, I am playing 4 copies of the offense training. Reveal top 2 cards, add 1 red card to the hand, the rest to go to the bottom. Main, delay, one of your Digimon may digivolve into a red Digimon card with the cost reduced by 2. So we take everything in this deck that we want. That's why we're playing 2 of it. And to round it off with everything, 2 copies of Red Scramble. One of your red Digimon may digivolve into a red Digimon with the cost reduced by 3. Start of turn, if your opponent's Digimon delay, return one of your Digimon. One of your red Digimon from trash to the top of the deck. Then if you don't have Digimon, you may play 1 red Digimon 2000 DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. Security does the same exact thing as the second part. You play 2k from trash, then add this to hand. But that is my Medusamon deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy this. What are your builds? Test out your builds. Let me know. I know a lot of people do not play this Cyclone one anymore. I still think this has tons of value. Like I said, with that Medusamon inheritable, being able to hit something and putting this on the field and being able to remove another body, yeah, I can play out a blocker, but they can just suspend my blocker. I would rather just hit it with my Cyclone one. So this is the reason why I'm playing some of these cards. They're a little bit different. A lot of people have been telling me, you don't need them, you don't need them. And then the amount of times that these things have saved me in game, I still play them. I'm still iffy on my tamers. I don't know whether or not I want to play the 2 memory setter. I haven't tested a ton with just the 1, but I think it's enough. You know, I think it's a good tamer. I think this is enough. But what do you guys think? Go ahead, leave it in the comments below. Let me know, and then make a community post on some stuff that you guys would like to see from the channel. What deck profiles you'd like me to do. I'm going to be building soon. I ended up picking up 2 more Neptunemons. I'm going to build an Aqua Control deck, I think. A Time Stranger Aqua Control. So, very excited for that. But other than that, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.